So the Bible says that he that is wise wins souls. So he that is wise, he wins souls. He number one, he knows that that's what Jesus wants. And then he acquires skills to be able to effectively win people to Christ, right? Or to be a light. Uh, so he acquires the skills to be able to do it, and he also finds it within himself or herself to obey Jesus and get in the race and do their part and fulfill their calling, right? But he that is wise winneth soul. Um, to win a soul, in another word, is also to make a friend. It's like when you're wanting to win somebody to Christ, in a sense, you're making a friend out of that person. You are extending yourself to that person. You're speaking to that person. You're becoming vocal, maybe when you don't want to necessarily be vocal. If you're not a social butterfly, you're extending yourself outside of your comfort zone to make a friend, and you want to convince the person that you're approaching them as a friend, that you're approaching them in a non-threatening type of way, and that because you know how people view Christians, you approach with a level of wisdom. So the Bible says that his people are wise as serpents and harmless as doves. So the Lord's people are wise as serpents and harmless as doves. So um, we live in this world. We know how people view Christians. We know how um, yeah, how people that confess Jesus Christ are viewed amongst the general public as a whole. Doesn't mean everybody takes that mentality, but there is a consensus of what a lot of people think they know about true Christians, what they think they know about those who profess godliness. So, with these things in mind, we practice wisdom when we approach people, and we practice wisdom when we're talking to people, and so on and so forth. We know that we have a message that we want to get to them. um, we know we're coming with motives, so there's nothing wrong with coming with ulterior motives, like because our motive is to win their soul. So there's nothing wrong with talking to somebody with that in mind. With some people say, yeah, you got a motive. Yeah, you do have a motive. And my motive is to win you to God, show you righteousness, show you Jesus Christ. So that's my motive. As long as my motive is not something that's bad, something that's to harm them, to hurt them, we're supposed to be the people that's intentional. Like we're supposed to be intentional about what we're doing with our lives. God made man for us to be intentional. It's not we're not supposed to just be like people that blow in the wind. We don't know what we're doing, why we're doing it. We're just doing it, right? That's not what God has created man for. And those whom he has called into light in him, he's given us the his will that we're supposed to follow. Jesus said, everybody's going to follow after me. God has to take up their cross and deny themselves daily. So he said, this is my intentions for those that are going to follow me. They have to put this in their mind. They have to deny themselves daily, take up their cross and follow me. And in a sense, that means follow Jesus's passion and follow what he's saying, meaning apply it to your life. Do what he's saying, and look for areas in which you can change and apply his word, his truth to your life. Right. But yeah, so some people are waiting for Christians to come and start preaching to them. They're looking for you to just preach, and they're looking for you to not have substance within your heart and your soul, but for you to just have a message, but there be no substance. So that's how some people view a Christian, where they have a message that they want to tell me, but in their heart of heart, they have no substance within that. Their heart of heart does not match the message that they're saying to me. And people can tell when you're just preaching at them and you don't want to hear them. You don't want to listen to them. You don't really care about them for real. You're just kind of checking off your duty. Did my duty for Jesus. I just checked it off. And people can tell when you just do it like a little checklist and they're part of your checklist. Um, so people can tell when you just want to talk and you don't want to listen. You just kind of want, like hearing yourself, you know, expound on God. People know that. So, as we seek to win souls, we have to think about okay, what about this person? What are they thinking about? what's on their heart, what's in their mind, what's troubling also in their life. Like they have things troubling within their own life. And the more you resist that part, the more you resist that part of a person, the more that person resists you. So the more you resist the issues of life that people are having and the things that are on a person's heart that really weigh heavy on them, the more you resist that, the more they're going to resist you. The more they're aware that you're resisting that. So even if, because sometimes people can be worried about very foolish things in their life. So that don't mean that you're supposed to embrace that idea and stay talking about that very foolish thing that they're embracing. But you just can't make it known that you're resisting that thing, because then they're going to want to resist you and they're not going to see you. They're not going to want to receive your message because you don't care about them. Right. So sometimes when people say, well, I'm trying to make disciples, what they'll do, they'll do what's right, but they'll say, I'm going to invite the person to church. I'm going to invite the person to church. But what happens to the individual, is they feel like that's a big jump. That's a big jump in relationship. That's not intimate to them, because they haven't got it. Like, they ain't want to go play pool with you. You haven't invited them to your house. You haven't invited them in somewhere intimate, but you jumped to church. So a lot of people are looking for you to show like you're a friend beyond church. Like you have interest in them beyond them just visiting your church, because that doesn't represent um that intimacy that really is built, like makes friendships, that really builds friendships, like that. Yeah. People like to know that you care about them. People like to know that you really care. Oh, it's my birthday. People like to know that you care about their birthday. People like to know that you care about what's going on if their family is sick, or if something is going on in their life. They want to know that, and they don't want to only say that this relationship is only at church. And when we leave church, we have no parts with each other, right? So when you limit that discipleship to only church, you're going to lose the person. You're going to lose the person. Um, because people think about the people that you call friends, people that you call friends right now in your life. Maybe the people that you met over the last year, maybe you call them friends. But some people look at the friends that they have like the friends they had for 15, 20 years ago. Those friends, they could be saved or unsaved, but you call them friends. And maybe they had never been to church with you before, but you call them friends. So you got to think about, why don't people that follow Jesus call themselves friends of each other? They don't look at themselves as just friends, right? They just say, well, we're believers together. We believe the same thing. We discuss the same thing. You ever went to his house? No, I don't go to his house. You ever invite you? No, I don't do that. How is that a friendship? Like, how is that anything that's real, of real substance? That's just like going to work. like you treat the people that you work with the same way. I seen y'all at work. All right, I'm off. I'm talking to you no more. That's the same way you treat the associates that you have, right? So you keep them at arm's length. Like, I like you, but I don't like you like that, right? So when you're discipling people, if you treat them like that, then they're gonna feel that. They're gonna know that, and y'all are not gonna be friends. So and a lot of times, if you don't show that, then you're not going to be an effective uh, disciple of Christ. You're not going to be viewed as real, and believe it or not, that will affect the integrity, like the perspective of integrity that the person has of you. That will affect their integrity. Like, I just was told here recently. They said they was talking to me and they said, well, Mark, if we come in town, we know that you're gonna. If we call you and say be there, we know you're gonna be there, right? And so we ain't got to worry about when we come in town. You're gonna show up. And they said, but I have another brother in Christ that we tell him that we coming in town. He said, yeah, come and all that. And then as soon as we show up, he stand us up, right? And I was like, well, that happens for real, you know? And this is somebody, you know, that has a name for themselves, you know? So, and in my mind, that wasn't even a virtue that you called me and I said, yeah, I'm here and I'm really here. That's, to me, that's not like a virtue. That's not like, that's normal people stuff to me. But I found that it was a virtue by talking to this person. And I said, oh, wow, Christians are doing that to each other, where they're behaving as if they love the brothers and sisters, that they're wanting to spend time with the brothers and sisters, that they're really trying to make disciples, but they will not let you within arm's length, arm's reach. So the moment you breach that, they'll accept money from you, they'll accept support from you, they'll accept. But the moment that you step into that intimate circle, they can't be found. Not knowing that that's a testimony for themselves. That means you're not a man of your word, you're not a woman of your word, that you're plastic. You're plastic. Like you're not real. You're not like, y'all understand what I'm saying? Like you're not you're not a real person. You're not, your heart doesn't really pump for real. It's just an outward thing that you portray. And maybe you mean, I don't know if you mean what you're saying though, because if you won't, I was about to say maybe you mean what you're saying, but if it if it if a person can't be touched, do they really mean what they're saying? Like if the person who wants to win you to Jesus won't go bowling with you, won't visit your house, won't call you and check up on you, what you got going on, how you doing? If they won't do that, like, is it real? Is it real? So we want to be real, you know, and you know, if we say that we're disciples of Jesus, you know, if we say that we want to win people, and the Bible says he that has friends must first show himself friendly, must first show himself friendly, like able and capable at this point of life, in life, to change your demeanor, change your way to create friends. Because you can be a person that's unfriendly your whole life. You could be an antisocial person your whole life, and you come to Christ, and you can say, "Well, I'm still like that. I'm still like that." So a person has to be pliable. They got to be changeable. They can't, like, I'm like this, and I'm just going to be like this. You can be like that if you want to, but you just have to know that that is ungodly. You can stay however you want to remain, you know, but you got to know that that's not Christ. That's not God. That's not the way of the Lord, right? Because even Jesus called his disciples friends. He called them brethren, right? So even Jesus, he says we have friends. He has friends. Now Jesus' friends are a little different from our friends, because Jesus said, if you're gonna be my friend, you gotta listen to me. If you obey me, you're my friend. If you don't obey me, you're not my friend. That's what Jesus says. So Jesus' friends and our friends are gonna be a little different, because people don't have to obey us to be our friends. They don't have to listen to everything that we're saying and agree with us at all times to be our friends. And that brings up another point. Now, because the Bible said, because sin has multiplied in the world.
Because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold.
Yes, there we go. So because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. So now people aren't making friends. So currently in society in 2026, people are no longer making friends, and people no longer hold any value on friendship. Right now, the spirit that's operating in the world has indoctrinated people with these things, and people have received this idea within themselves, and they operate where they will cross a friend, where they don't need a friend, where that's the way that people operate in the world. Right. So you got to know that walking out into society is not a society that really has friends, makes friends, honor friends, does the things to keep friends. Um, Meaning, a friend should be able to tell a friend a secret, and that friend keep the secret between me and you. Keep the secret. I'm not saying he went out and killed 12 people and you keeping those type of secrets. But they tell you something in confidence. Just between me and you, I'm not comfortable to tell everybody everything. And then you tell it to this person, this person, this person. That's not a friend. That's not a friend. Friends don't have to agree in all things. They don't have to agree at all times to maintain friends. But if people don't agree, then they'll write off the whole friendship. And so yeah, I don't need you. And the truth be, who needs who? Who needs who? You say, well, I don't need anybody. A person could say that, and then God gonna show you that He gonna use humans to do the things He gonna do in your life. So He gonna show you that you do need people. So in yourself, you say, I don't need nobody. You might say, well, look, this relationship is not serving me. This relationship is not beneficial to me. But in general, you can't say that as a general thing. I don't need people. Like people in general, I just there's something that are disposable to me and they have no value. You can't say that. So because God gonna show you different. He gonna cause circumstances to show you, see, this is why you just can't harden your heart towards mankind as a whole. It's just certain individuals you might have to make distance from and space from, but it's not as a whole. But um, like I said, Jesus tells us to obey him, and that's how we maintain friendship with Jesus. And we maintain intimate friendship with those who obey Jesus. And we maintain friendship at a lower level with people who do not obey Jesus. Very much lower level where people do not obey Jesus. We have a deeper connection with the people who obey Jesus. Who and with those people, that friendship has accountability equipped within it because they obey Jesus, you obey Jesus, or y'all are pursuing to obey Jesus, and so there's a level of accountability that's there. Now in the world, you had friends and they never obeyed Jesus with you. They probably led you to sin, but you had a love for this people. You had love for them. You cared about them. You cared about their family. You knew their cousins, their grandma. You know what happened to their uncle. You got this bond with them that may never be broken to the day that you leave the earth. You might look at them like sisters and brothers. You might like when I go over there, that's like my grandma. That's like my sister. That's like my brother, right? So you got this bond that won't be broken. And then you have your relationship with Christ, I mean, with the Christians that was not foundational in your life. So it wasn't foundational. It wasn't a part of your upbringing with this person. So the relationship don't have the same level of foundation to it. It don't have the same level of yokes within it. So because it doesn't have those things, it doesn't a person is willing to forsake that faster than they are willing to forsake the one that has history appended to it, that has emotion appended to it, the one that I sat at your table and ate. Those details are what's really solidifying their friendship. Look at all we did together. Look at all we done together. Look at all we've been through together. Look at all how we grew together. So those relationships tend to carry more weight in the heart of people, um, because of what they were, even if they're not applicable to today. The relationships, people are not in your life today, and you know those people would get on your nerves if they were really close to you. You know, if they were really close to you, you would not want to be with them because you changed too much. So you keep them as a friend, but you keep them. I can only deal with you in doses. I can deal with you in doses. I'll talk to you 2 days in a row. I can't talk to you for a month. We'll talk next month. Right? Those are kind of friendship because the sin that come out their mouth, the sin that's in their mind, the depravity that's in their mind won't allow you to be close. So in general, the Christian has to learn how to make friends and to show himself friendly. And for men have to learn to not be aggressive and too assertive with other men and too standoffish with other men. Uh, I can't speak for every culture of man, but I know black men. The first thing black men don't normally like each other. Not, like the first Like if they see each other, if we go into the gas station and it's 12 black men in that gas station, ain't none of them talking to each other. The only one talking is the homeless man that walked in there trying to scrub the floor or see if he can ask for some money. But the rest of them are me mugging, right? So the rest of them feel like I don't trust you. I don't know what you on, so I'm gonna go. That's the thing. I don't trust you. I don't know what you got going on, so I'm on guard right now. So that's the normal way that black men deal with each other, and that's the normal atmosphere that a black man goes into when he goes into different the wing shop, and it's all these black men, or the barber shop, and it's all it. No matter where you go, so so the black Christian deals with um not becoming aggressive and hard. And by default, he doesn't recognize that these atmospheres are doing him like that, and it's creating something in him. So, and it creates a quietness in some men. So the Lord is looking for us to change those, to acknowledge those things, and to change those things, and to be pliable, so that we can be disciples. I mean, so we can make disciples, so we can go forward, because we can't be dictated by atmospheres. We can't be dictated by atmospheres. And the Lord wants to be the one that leads us, not the what's going on in the atmosphere. And men by their weakness will change their disposition, their demeanor in the atmosphere. So by the weakness within them, they'll change their demeanor. Their insecurity, their fear will creep in, and then to mask the fear, they'll turn up in their mind. You know, I don't know what's going to happen in this atmosphere. I don't trust this atmosphere, so let me be on guard. And that's why men become aggressive in different atmospheres. Um, so these are some truths that we know. A question is, and this is open form: why aren't friendships being cultivated anymore? Why aren't friendships being cultivated anymore? And what do you say a friend is? You know, what is a friend to you?
I would say one of the reasons that I'm aware of in myself is just kind of keeping score with people, like if our last interaction wasn't so great, or I brought up Jesus, or you know I kind of um challenged something you said, and you didn't appreciate it, or you blew me off, or you changed the subject, or you got mad. It's kind of like it's kind of hard to forget that, and just start off fresh all over again next time. Because I deal with people on a like a weekly basis, on a monthly basis, and stuff like that. And usually, I try to speak about Christ to different people, and depending on how they responded to it, or whatever the case was, I kind of keep score of it, or I kind of like, shut myself off, or distance myself, or I won't try again because of the last interaction. But you know, just as you were speaking, I kind of realized within myself, I'm like, I need to just start off fresh with people every time I see them, and try again, and don't let those things, weigh me down, you know. So
I feel like I feel like for some people it could be like a trust thing. They would have to see who they are first before they can make a friend. Um, but for me, I feel like I can make a friend with anybody. And usually for me, they have to show themselves before I cut them off, or keep them at a distance. But I agree with you said when you said you have to make a friend first before you can kind of like talk to them, because they need to get to know who you are, before you try to preach and teach, because they're gonna think that's all you're trying to do with them.
Yeah, and I agree with all that. I say, to add on to it, I believe a friend is like, and just from my own experience, people, they'll respect you more when you can tell them the truth. even when you're talking to them about the Lord, or just in general, when you're telling them, like, you should do it like this, or you should do it like that. Like, oh, he cares about where I'm, like, this person cares about what I'm doing. They care about, like, that I don't do the wrong thing. And yeah, I see it as that. I guess in my own personal experience, that's pretty much how it's been. Let me see it. It kind of reminds me of that scripture, faithful are the wounds of a friend, but the kisses of an enemy are deceitful. So it's like, okay, if I care about this person, I'm gonna tell them what's right. That's kind of like the method I pretty much use.
Okay.
I want to say, like, sometimes I have to think to myself to try not to, like, think about them in a certain way because they are new. So, like, point out everything or, like, overly criticize them or overthink, because I know where I was and I know who I was, and it took me some time. So sometimes I have to put myself in perspective. Okay, this is how I started off. And I have to look at them like, um, basically feed them little by little, not give them everything at once because it'll be too much. And we should always approach people with love and tell them the truth at the same time without overly criticizing, because that'll steer them away too. It's going to scare them.
So some people say, and if anybody want to add, they can add in a second. But some people say that me telling you the truth is love. So, because you say I approach them with love and I want to tell them the truth. And some people say that, well, I'm telling you the truth and that's love, right? Like negating how they said it or how they thought you might take it. Or so where's the fine line between telling somebody the truth, and you seeing that